Hello, Dr. Famba, we may start the meeting.
Hello, thank you, Madam Jamanda. Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon, Dr. Damiyano.
Afternoon, everyone, and afternoon, Dr. Famba.
Thank you very much, Dr. Damiyano, for joining this session. We are all looking up to you, and our expectations are high. We are hoping to learn quite a lot of things from your expertise. I also want to welcome Dr. Dokora, who has just joined in. Dr. Dokora usually does our housekeeping issues, and I'm happy to see that he has just joined in, so I'll allow him to proceed with the session before
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Famba. I notice also the fact that we are still around 35, but I believe that's a good number to begin, as this material will be made available subsequent to the session. So, hello everyone. Some basic rules of the session, if we could just observe the fact that as you remain
Hello, Dr. Dokora, can you hear me?
the bottom of your screen, there are some hand signals there. You can use a hand signal, a thumb, to indicate that you want to say something. Because if we all unmute at the same time, we could create some beautiful chaos in the house. So just use the hand signals so that we can then assist the presenter identify you, or the presenter will be able to quickly identify you. So that's very important for all of us. There are some tasks that presenters give you. Instead of perhaps trying to interrupt the presenter to ask your particular question, please use the chat channel, so you can put your question through that chat channel, and at an appropriate time, the presenter will be provided with these chat interactions, and they will be able to assist you. So I think without much further ado, let's allow the presenter to go online. Is that to start the session? Is that Dr. Famba, or it's back to you, Dr. Famba?
Today it's Dr. Damiyano who is presenting.
Okay. Dr. Damiyano, are you ready? Already we have a breach of the rules of the house. I can hear some child noises in the background there. Please mute your mic. And our host at Dean Commerce, you have the overriding authority there to mute any mic that is filtering incorrect noises there. So over to you, Dr. Damiyano, please.
Okay, thank you very much, organizers of this activity, this academic and scientific writing. I'll call it a retreat. And thank you very much, Dr. Dokora and Dr. Famba here present and whoever in the protocols in attendance. And thank you, the Secretariat, and thank you to all who are attending this. Excuse me, can you hear me? I'm also getting some feedback.
Yes, Doc, can hear you. I think we have some people who still don't know how to mute their mics. It's very unfortunate. These are the skills that we are teaching people. People should know that when you get into a meeting, you mute your mic unless you are told to speak. So I have Telmo Sanyika. I've got quite a number of you guys who have not muted your mics. Please mute your mic.
Okay. The objectives of this meeting, we will want to express the importance of research philosophy in selecting research methods. And we also want to look at the types of research designs and possibly some hands-on activities, and also to identify research designs and types of data collection methods, understanding research methodologies, and the importance of choosing the appropriate methodology. Then the introduction, the question, I've started with this teaser, that the question of research methods are of secondary importance to questions of which paradigm is applicable to your research. This was according to Guba and Lincoln. And Guba and Lincoln are some of the fathers of research philosophy. So in this, what we are saying is that in most researches, we will be saying, or you are asked when you present your topic to say, what is your research question? What is the research problem? But according to Guba, they are actually saying that what matters more is the importance of the research design. So is the importance of the paradigm that you are using. Then what is this research paradigm? It is the basic belief system or worldview that guides the investigation, not only in choices of methods, but in ontological and epistemological fundamentals. Then we are all accustomed to this onion, which was developed by Saunders. Sorry, I can see the spelling of Saunders there. I think I put it wrongly. It's SA. That was in 2008. They developed an onion to say that before you do your data collection and data analysis, you can start with the outer side, where you come up with the first layer, which gives us the philosophy. And the philosophy that you can use is either the positivism, the realism, the interpretivism, or the pragmatism. Then when you have isolated your research or your investigation in those four realms of philosophies, you now have to choose the approach, whether the approach is going to be deductive or inductive. Then in that second layer of the onion, we have got two approaches. Then we can go on to peel the onion to the research strategies. And these strategies, yes, put them as either the experiment, survey, case study, action research, grounded research, ethnography, or archival research. Then after that, you have to make a choice. And in this choice now, we are saying, are you going to use all the methods? And he isolated 3 methods here, the mono method, whether you're just using one method, or you're using 2 methods, where you triangulate and mix methods, or you use multi-methods, where there are so many other methods that you use. But at the same time, that data that you want to collect can either be cross-sectional or longitudinal. You know, it can be on cases, or it can be over a time frame. Then you collect your data and you analyze it. And that is now at the middle of the onion. So we are saying what matters, according to Saunders, is not what you want to analyze, but it's the philosophies from where you are deriving your research. For housekeeping, Secretariat, can you admit members into? I can see a lot of members waiting in the lounge. Okay, so understanding research philosophy and why research philosophy is important. Research philosophy relates to the development of knowledge and the nature of that knowledge. You know, when we are doing research, we want to develop knowledge, and also we have to know the nature of that knowledge. That's why research philosophy is important. And as business and management researchers, as some of you will be, we need to be aware of philosophical commitments we make through our choice of research strategy, since this has significant impact not only on what we do, but what we understand and what it is that we are investigating. You know, what I'm trying to say here is that research philosophy is important because it is the origin of our thinking. It is that matter which gives direction or interest to what we want to research. For instance, philosophy could be could someone mute their mic, please? Okay, in this crux of the matter on the philosophy, the research philosophy, we want to find the relationship between knowledge and the process by which that knowledge is developed. You know, we are not interested on the output, the research output, but we are interested in how that research knowledge has been developed by the researchers. You know, for instance, researchers can give us the fact that our GDP is going to grow by 5.3%. But we need to know the relationship between that knowledge and the process by which the same knowledge has been developed. That's why research philosophy is important. Then a particular research question rarely falls neatly into only one philosophy. A particular research question rarely falls neatly into only one philosophical domain is suggested in the onion. Remember, we had our onion, and this point is saying that it's rare for a research questions to fall neatly into only one philosophical domain, but what practical use is an understanding of our philosophical position. So it means that it is beneficial to understand the taken for granted assumptions that we all have about the world, about how the world works. What we are saying here is that, for instance, it cannot be only pragmatic. There are times when these philosophies share domain, and that is in the practical realm. But we are presenting it in the abstract, theoretical way, so for understanding purposes. Then I have this OEMMS, where we are saying what's out there to know. That is ontology. And when we are talking of ontology, we are saying what's out there to know. Is it about the economy? Is it about the politics? Is it about health? Is it about the society? Then we have epistemology, which is what and how can we know about it? What and how can we know about it? Can we know about the inflation increase, about the calculation of the inflation, about the political dynamics? What can we know about? Is it the constitution of the politics? Is it about voting in politics? Then methodology. How can we go about acquiring knowledge? Research, we are moving from unknown to known. So how can we go about acquiring knowledge? Then that's when we can say, let's get some qualitative data, let's get some quantitative data. But what are the procedures that we can use to acquire it? Those are the methods now. We can get it from a questionnaire, we can get it from an interview, we can get it from a survey, and other sources which data can we collect. Maybe secondary data from World Bank, IMF, books, journal articles, and so forth. Okay, as we know from that onion that we have presented, there is the philosophy of pragmatism, which states that do you have to adopt one position? When we are doing research, this is what should come into your mind, that do you have to adopt one position? But pragmatism argues that the most important determinant of the epistemology, ontology, and axiology you adopt is the research question. That is according to pragmatism. But one may be more appropriate than the other for answering particular questions. We are saying ontology might be the best to use for answering a particular question, or epistemology or axiology, depending on the nature of the question that you are posing. According to Tashakori and Teddy, they said this pragmatism avoids the researcher engaging in what they see as rather pointless debates about such concepts as truth and reality. For instance, in religion, there are times when you cannot do a research on something that you think is the truth because of what you value, and therefore you should not do maybe a research to test whether Jesus is the Son of God, because that is already a truth and a reality to Christians. And as you see further down, you see that you should study what interests you and is of value to you, study in the different ways in which you deem appropriate, and use the results in ways that can bring about positive consequences within your value system. Like the question I have given, that from a Christianist point of view, we cannot be seen studying something that goes against our value, something that is not of our interest. Then ontology. What assumptions do we make about the way in which the world works? Ontology is concerned with the nature of reality, and this raises questions of the assumption researchers have about the way the world operates and the commitment held to particular view. Then the two aspects which forms the cornerstone of ontology includes objectivism and subjectivism. Objectivism portrays the position that social entities exist in reality external to social actors concerned with their existence. That's when researchers bring in the question of being objective. For instance, someone is doing a research in Zimbabwe, and you do away with economic inflation as a factor that affects economic growth or GDP in Zimbabwe. That assumption is not objective, because we are saying you are disregarding a reality that concerns the existence of economic growth. Then subjectivism was that social phenomena are consequent actions of those social actors concerned with their existence. When we're talking of subjectivism, it's a normative of what we ought things to be, but what we ought things to be might not be the case. For instance, if we see that there are some clouds there and rain, it might rain. Yes, ontologically, that's the assumption. But that assumption might not hold. We can have clouds and it might not rain, because the presence of clouds is a ontology of subjectivism. So even when we are carrying out our research, we should take note of such assumptions which are subjective. I think some of the content, you share them, and they are on for academic. What I would want is maybe some discussions around some practical example. For instance, if we read on this slide, management theory and practice is leaned towards treating organizational culture as a variable. That is to say, something that the organization has, something that can be manipulated, changed in order to produce the sort of state of desired by managers. Can I have, I know there are managers in between us, amongst us. I want us to state some of the organizational cultures that we have, which are treated as a variable. We want to discuss something around that. So this is discussion time. We'll give it maybe 2 minutes. So can I have someone giving us the organizational culture of their organization where they come from, so that we see what assumptions they make on how the world works around them. Yes, anyone who can explain to us their organizational culture? Maybe I will point some names which I can pick from here randomly. I can see here there is Tafadzwa Madzimure. Could you just give us a brief of your organizational culture? Okay, Madzimure is not responding. Shower.
Yes.
Yes. Can you explain to us how, in brief, your organizational culture?
I think it's too broad. Maybe if you can give me a hint.
Okay, when we are talking about organizational culture, we are talking about beliefs, values in your organization.
Okay. In our organization, one thing is we assume everyone is independent or does not take any political side.
Okay. Yes. So that's what you are saying. According to ontology, it's an assumption that we are talking about, because we might see that even maybe yourself, you might not be apolitical as you are treating it, but that is a culture that is now treated as a variable that affects the way that you do business. And we are now saying that management theory and practice is leaned towards treating organizational culture as a variable, something that the organization has. But we are also saying that from a subjectivism viewpoint, culture is something that is created and recreated through a complex array of phenomena, which include social interactions, physical factors such as office layout. You know, you might say, I want to be independent as the norm or the value or the culture of the organization. But as long as you have a shared office shower, that independence might fall out, even if you are preaching independence. So that's why we are now saying a research is guided by some ontology, which are what we say, these are assumptions which we make about how the world works. We are saying, yes, we assume that workers from company X are independent as an assumption, but it can be a subjective viewpoint, because we are saying that culture is created and recreated. What does this now have on the results of the research that we intend to do? It means the research that we intend to do now might be subjective other than being objective. Or someone will argue that you have said that this organization is independent, but one cannot be independent when they share offices. One cannot be independent when they don't stay, when they say they stay in a compound, so to speak, maybe in some organizations where they have got organized accommodation. We are saying in that case, someone now will start to oppose the assumption that you have made, which brings the research to a subjective ontology phenomenon. Okay. The next which we want to look at, the philosophy which we want to look at, is the epistemology. Epistemology deals with what is acceptable knowledge in a particular field of study. Epistemology has got three types: positivism, realism, interpretivism. And in my opinion, this is usually common, especially in the medical field, whereby we are saying once we get a certain result, and that is what it means. If maybe we say your BP level is 150 over say 120, that there is an acceptable knowledge in that particular field. They will now start saying that, no, this one is a BP patient. That is according to the knowledge acceptable in that field. They have got some litmus which they use to measure certain concentrations in our body. They can say if your HB is below, say, 9, then they say, no, your blood is below you've got a low HB. Such things, it means that that is the knowledge that is known in that field. And we are saying there are some three types of epistemology. Then I am going to go through the three types of epistemology. One, positivism. It prefers working with an observable social reality, and that the end product of such research can be law-like generalization and similar to those produced by physical and natural scientists. I think that is what I've been talking about, to say when your BP level is maybe above 160, then they say this is a chronic. When your sugar levels are this, then it becomes a law-like generalization to say, if you get to this, this is the situation that we have. Then I think that's positivism. We can go to the next type of epistemology, which is realism. This approach poses that what the senses show us as a reality is the truth. That objects have an existence independent of the human mind. There's a reality quite independent of the mind. In this sense, realism is opposed to idealism, the theory that only the mind and its contents exist. Realism, we are saying what the senses show us as a reality is the truth. And which senses do we have? It could be a sense of taste. It could be what we see. If we see something as tall, that's when we actually have to say this is tall, and we are saying that is an epistemology of realism. If something is sour, put in the mouth, we taste, we see that this is sour, then we can say, according to epistemology, realism, the milk is sour. And remember, in the research, we are moving from unknown to known. We not have known the taste of the sugar, but when we use our senses, we can make a decision, and that is a realism. But there are times now when others argue to say realism cannot suit in this type of research, simply because the type of research does not want or does not demand the use of senses. You should not tell us that it is rained by what you see, but there are some measurements that can be done. So it means if you are doing a research around rainfall, you cannot use the epistemology realism, because it will not give us the correct result. Okay, then on the realism, there are two types of realism, which is direct realism and critical realism. Direct realism says that what you see is what you get. What you experience through your senses portray the world accurately. They believe that your senses are accurate. But critical realism argues that what we experience are sensations, the image of the things in the real world, not the things directly. Critical realists points out how often our senses deceive us. That is critical realism. What you might say is sour, it might not be sour to someone. Take, for instance, some of us or some of those who drink, when they take a pint, you would see that in their face they are struggling to swallow because of the sparkling bitter, but they will be saying, oh, this beer is good. So that is now critical realism, whereby our sense deceive us. We'll be saying, this is good. Yet our senses are deceiving us. It's an example which could be subjective. Could I get some other examples for direct realism and critical realism in research? There's someone whose hand is up. Is it Godfrey?
Yeah, like the example that you have given us of beer, maybe a good example, another is the chilies or miripiri nshona. Some says miripiri nonaka, and on the tongue it will be sour or it will be hot.
Okay, so that one is critical realism. There is some feedback coming. Okay, anyone to, I think that one which was given is of critical realism, is it? That at times our senses deceive us, or is it direct realism, which we are saying that what we experience through our senses portrays the world accurately. Critical realism claims that there are steps to experiencing the world. There is the thing itself and the sensation it conveys. There is the mental processing that goes on some time after that sensation meets our senses. Then direct realism says the first step is enough. For instance, the Miripiri example that we have been given. Miripiri by itself, the first step is enough to tell you that this is dynamite. This is what. But now the critical realism now will say the hotness, the dynamite gives a sensation, and you now start saying, oh, it's hot, but I like this sensation. So it means that's when the epistemology is a critical realism. Okay, then another type of epistemology is the interpretivism. It advocates that it is necessary for a researcher to understand the difference between humans in our role as social actors. This emphasizes the difference between conducting research among people rather than objects, such as trucks and computers. You know, when we are interpreting, we have to know the behavior of the object in which we have collected the data. That's why at times now we are forced to say we are collecting data from humans. There are ethical issues which you should adhere to so that there is validity and reliability, because they can behave differently when they are seen, like a computer or a laptop. A laptop, the screen performs the way it does when it is not being observed or when it is being observed. Unlike a person, Dr. Famba can behave differently when he is with his peers during the weekend, and the way he behaves when he is with his workmates. So in that case, it means when you are doing the research, interpretivism affects whether you are dealing with humans or you are dealing with non-human objects. Axiology is the branch of philosophy that studies judgments about value. The role that your own value plays in all stages of the research process is of great importance if you wish your research results to be credible. I think this, we know that our research ethics avoids the researcher in affecting results, because that's when we end up saying you are rigging results. So you should also know the role that you play as a researcher in the research for the research to be credible. The research is being carried maybe for Buse workers, and it is being carried by the Buse workers themselves. It means, according to axiology, the role being played in the research has got an effect on the validity and reliability of the result. I think on that one, I think you can read the notes. I want you to just have a few before we start doing some other examples. From our objectives, this slide is trying to explain the importance of research paradigms. I wanted to just get a definition of a paradigm, which is a way of examining social phenomenon from which particular understanding of this phenomenon can be gained and explained. And we have the subjectivist paradigm, we've got the objectivist paradigm, and the radical change paradigm, and the regulation paradigm. This is much of theory, because when you're doing your research, you don't really write about it. That's why I would want us to go to the application of it. So the radical change paradigm relates to a judgment about the way organizational affairs should be conducted and suggests ways in which these affairs may be conducted in order to make fundamental changes to the normal order of things. It is done when we are maybe evaluating a program, maybe we are evaluating the Pfumvudza program. We can use the radical change paradigm, research paradigm. Then we've got the regulation research paradigm, which seeks to explain the way in which organizational affairs are regulated and offer suggestions as to how they may be improved. When we are looking maybe at the corporate governance framework in the state-owned enterprise, we have to use a regulation research paradigm. Then why are these paradigms important? It helps the researchers clarify their assumptions. It also offers a useful way of understanding the way in which other researchers approach their work. It also helps researchers plot their own route through their research and understand where it is possible to go and where they are going. Then paradigms are being explained there. I think I just want to move away from this, and I want us to go back to the onion. Can we look at the onion, and can we have a topic that we can discuss and we fit it in using the onion? Can someone suggest a topic that we can discuss and we fit it in the onion? Rosemary, do you have any research topic that we can? Yes, Rosemary. Emily Manyanda, oh, there is a hand. Yes, you can give your topic, Alan.
Assessing the impact and adoption of artificial intelligence to reduce traffic congestion and road connections.
Oh, can you come again?
Assessing the impacts and adoption of artificial intelligence to reduce assessing the impact and adoption of artificial intelligence to reduce traffic congestion and road connections.
Okay. Yes, we want to reduce the road carnages in Zimbabwe, but we want to use artificial intelligence. Which philosophy can we use there? Participants, can we also assist? Participants, can we assist? I think we want to have a short breather where you write your topic and you try to fit in the onion to say in terms, this is my topic, in terms of philosophy, my topic fits this philosophy. In terms of approach, it fits this approach. In terms of choice, this is the choice that I'm using. Then we can discuss one or two topics there. We can reconvene at 2. This is 7 minutes to 2. Between now and 2, can we come up with our topics and we fit them in we fit in that onion. You write your topic, you write your philosophy, you write your approach, you write your strategy, your choice, your time horizon, your technique and the procedures. Thank you for that. Okay, I think it's 2 o'clock. We can discuss something here. I have got a question myself for the class. And on this question, I would want to first have doctors in this giving the answer first. I can see Dr. Famba there. Who else is in, Dr. Famba? Dr. Famba?
Hello, Doc.
Yes, I have got a question, and I just wanted to know who is in the doctors.
There's myself and Dr. Dokora.
I think Dr. Dokora has been booted out, or is he in? Okay, maybe the question goes to you, Dr. Famba. If a tree falls down in the forest, does it make noise?
Hello, Doc, come again.
I'm saying if a tree falls in the forest, does it make noise?
Yeah, I think it does. I'm not sure, but I think it does.
Okay. To who?
Or if it depends on the environment. I think it only affects the environment, its environment.
Okay. So my question to you is, if a tree falls in the forest, does it make noise? Or it makes a sound?
Yeah, it makes a sound, a large sound. But when it comes to whether it is noise or not, it now depends on from whose perspective. If its environment has got some animals, maybe those animals will say, yes, there's some noise for us there, or something like that.
Okay, what I am trying to drive there is the fact that an answer depends from from your dimension. And in this case, we are saying your answer depends on your philosophy, what you believe is the answer. So the same in research. For you to say, I follow under this, or this is what I'm going to do, it also depends with the side. Maybe now let me ask our participants, and they have to justify. My question, participants, is that if a tree falls in the forest, does it make noise or it makes a sound? You can raise your hand Tobias Moyo, can you try to give us an answer?
Afternoon, Doc.
Yes, Tobias.
Yes. I think when a tree falls in a forest, it makes a sound. Because trees don't hear any noise.
Okay, are you saying it from a positivist or from a subjectivist point of view?
I'm saying it from a positivist.
Okay, that's what Tobias thinks. Let's, Fitzgerald, your hand was up.
Okay, afternoon, Doc.
Yes.
Okay, if a tree falls in the forest, it makes a sound. I believe noise is something that is meant to disturb someone. But when you're in a forest and a tree falls, there's no disturbance which is being made to someone. So it's a sound that is being made.
Okay. Yes. Thanks, Fitzgerald, for your intervention. Let's also hear from, there's another hand. You can assist me, Secretariat. I can see one from Godfrey, but I can't remember. Yes, we can. Godfrey, you can. There was Blessing Maina, whose hand was up. Then you can go to Godfrey. Blessing, what can you say? Then you can go to Godfrey.
There's also Manyani.
Hello, Doc.
Then after that, we go to Manyani, yes.
Yeah, hello, Doc.
Yes, Blessing.
Yeah, I think if a tree falls in the forest, it does both, because it makes a sound and noise as well. Because in the forest there are also some animals, so they are affected by that sound. That would be noise to them.
Okay. So are you saying this from this is after you have done mixed methods, is it? So
yeah,
he's now trying to say there are two different organisms. There are some organisms which are human. Remember, we have been explaining this to say when you're doing a research to humans, it's different when you're doing research to non-humans. So that should also come into your mind to say when a tree is falling, there are humans and non-humans. That is what Blessing is telling us there. Okay, who is next? I think there was, I said out after Blessing, I said who comes next?
Godfrey.
Godfrey.
Yes, I wanted to say I've got a mixed bag, just like the other guy we said. Because in the forest, obviously there will be animals. So animals, they also hear noise. They also hear sound. So obviously they are going to be affected by that sound or noise that is coming from a falling tree. So for animals, it might be sound, it might be noise, and obviously they are going to be affected by that noise or sound.
Okay. Then we can go on to Manyani.
Okay, afternoon, Doc.
Afternoon, Manyani.
Okay, my point of view is I think the tree will make a sound. I'm of the view that noise is something which is subjective. Just like when people are singing in church, they are not making noise, but it's actually a rhythm. So it depends on who's listening. So noise is subjective. I think it just makes a sound, considering the environment.
No, it's all noted, Manyan. Then in all this discussion class, I want us to fit in the onion to say this is subjectivism versus positivism, like what Manyan is saying, is it? And also from another point of view, remember I have also said, for instance, doctors, they've got their own measurements. If we had a machine that measures the decibels, once there's movement on that machine, scientists will say there's a sound. It means because they follow under that philosophy. So I'm trying to say, can you fit in with explanations can you fit in the analysis with your explanation? After Manyani, there is Tangai Mchwe. Yes, Tangai.
Hello, Doc.
Yes, Tangai.
Yeah, before I suggested, I wanted to ask, what do you mean by the term positivism or subjectivism before I explain my answer?
When we are talking about subjectivism, we are really saying, let me explain it with an example that I had given, that it's subjective when we see clouds and say that it will rain. I mean, when we're doing a research, we can say that, to say on such days there were clouds and it rained. That is a subjectivism or a normative statement. But when we talk of a positive statement now, we are saying he had a symbol B in English. He passed the exam because we know that B is a pass. It's not subjective to say, people will start saying, no, he didn't pass, no, he passed with a B, but a B is a pass. It's objective. But subjective is something that when we see it, it can cause something to happen, or it might not cause something to happen. I don't know if I've explained.
Okay. So, in other words, you're trying to say, like, it's obvious that when you see clouds, it's going to rain.
No, it becomes it's subjective that when you see clouds, it will rain, because it's not like always when there are clouds, it will rain.
Okay. So when it is positivism, it's like straight away.
Straight away, it's when you have got a symbol B in English, what does it mean?
It means one is past.
Yes, there are no other interpretations, or there are no other expected occurrence other than passing.
Okay. Thank you, Doc. So let me try to answer the question. I think it depends with the size of a tree. Maybe the bigger the tree, the larger sound it makes, and most probably the more noise it makes. And also, like Dr. Famba said, it depends with the environment or the ground, or maybe if the ground is clear, when a big tree falls down, maybe to make much sound. In other words, you can say it makes much noise. Why? Because it is bigger in size, and in the process of falling down, there were no disturbances of it getting contact with the ground or anything that will make it make noise.
Okay. All these explanations, I will advise the secretary to create some breakaway rooms so that we can go and fine tune using the onion. I think I will take the other two, then I was taught this epistemology, ontology, exology from the Department of Education under philosophy. So I would want to also give Dr. Dokora, because that's his discipline, so that he could also unpack something around that. But first, you have to answer my question. I will give him the question, this same question we are discussing here, Dr. Doko. I will give it to you to say, does a tree make noise or a sound when it falls in the forest? Just get that question. I will give you time to answer that, Dr. Doko. Okay, Martin, then we can go to Jablani.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to say, like, if the sound is unwanted or unpleasant, it doesn't make noise. But the sound, if pleasant and wanted, it's just sound. It's not noise. So noise is emanated from unpleasant sound. Like if one is cutting that tree, the tree when it falls, it doesn't make noise. It makes sound because he's the one who is cutting that tree. But if it just falls down, not knowingly, it makes noise. That's my contribution.
Okay. Thank you for your contribution. Do you remember when we spoke about realism, where we said that this approach posits that what the senses show us as a reality is the truth, that objects have an existence independent of human mind. So we are saying, remember, we have also said that there are times when our senses deceive us. Is it also not a situation whereby our senses are deceiving us? Is it about critical realism? Someone is now saying that the tree is falling. And it's the falling that we are seeing. Who is, where is the sound coming from? We expect that when a tree is cut, a tree is cut, and when it falls, it makes sounds. That is what we expect. Critical realism. Let me hear from Jablani. Yes, Jablani, your hand was up.
Okay, thank you, Doc. I think from this scenario, the falling of a tree is undeniable. And what comes out of it, like the sound. But what constitutes noise, in my view, it depends on the hearer. In my view, noise is more of a meaning or an interpretation that is attached to the event. It is undeniable that the event, the falling of the tree is happened, and there is sound. Well, there may be variations on what sound is, but it's a fact that unfortunately, I don't have an alternative for sound, but there's something coming out of that tree. But like previous speakers have indicated, that noise is being unpleasant. But what constitutes unpleasant, it's relative. It really depends on someone. That's why you hear someone say, I enjoyed that sound. That sound was good. It depends on who he is, the hearer. But it is undeniable that there's a sound being produced. But whether it's noise, it depends on the hearer. And this hearer is also governed by different factors. They have the state of mind, the environment, what they are doing. So it becomes relative. Subjective. Thank you.
Okay. There is a thank you for that. There's a comment on the chat box that sound or noise depends on the sense of hearing. I think now we can give Dr. Dokora a chance Dr. Dokora, are you with us?
Yes, I came in, I reconnected. We are already somewhere again. I'm not sure whether I will make the task simpler. In communication, we talk of the transmission of a message from point A, let's say, to point B. Then we constitute or we encode the message at point A. Let's call that message A11. That's encoded in its pure form. So we wanted to transmit this message to point B. Whatever the medium we use, whether it's a phone or whether it's in the old days, it was a kind of wired wires, copper wires that carried the code. So we transmit from A to B, and in that transmission, we lose certain values. By the time the message gets to B, our message A11 arrives at B as A1. What has degraded the message is what constitutes noise. So the medium had noise which degraded the message. So the ordinary meaning of the word noise is not quite what it means in communication. But I sympathize with the view that says the hearer has a lot to say about noise. Did you receive the pure message A11? No, they didn't. They received the A1. The point 1 has been lost in the transmission. Now, applying it to your philosophical tendencies, that becomes a subject for the discussion, I guess. Over to you, Dr. Damiyano.
Thank you very much, philosopher. You know, philosophers are like that. You know, he was talking now about communication. How did we encode the information? How did we encode what had happened when the tree was cut? You see, more often than not in research, the data is encoded wrongly. What are we saying here? We are saying when you are collecting your data using a questionnaire, using interviews, documentary analysis, observations, like the analog you was trying to say, you might be using a cell phone or what have you. You might get the information wrongly, different from your intention. You would want to say you were collecting noise, but others were saying you were collecting sound. So that is also important when we are doing a research. What is the difference between a noise and a sound? It is because of the communication media. I also want, thank you, Dr. Dokora, for that, but you ran away from the other onion that I wanted you to pick on, the epistemologies, the axiologies, and the aesthetics. I know you like it more from the education perspective. We rest that today, and I will charge you to write a book on that, Dr. Dokora. Then back to our discussion here. I have given you the example of a tree. I said, if a tree falls, does it make a noise? Then I said, can you pick your onion, the one which has been discussed by Saunders in 2008, and try to see, using your topic, what is your philosophy? Is your philosophy of positivism? Is your philosophy of realism? Is it of interpretivism? Is it of pragmatism? Like in this case, the tree falling, we can isolate a philosophy to it. The same with your topic, you can isolate a philosophy to it. Then you do the same for deductive, inductive, which are our approaches. But I wanted to present another example which tries to explain challenges that we make when we are trying to deduce or to induct on our researches. On a piece of paper, wherever you are, class, can you write a circle? And can you write a line? Which letter or which word do you have? Adelaide? Sharon, what do you have?
Can you come again, Doc?
I said, can you draw a circle?
Yes.
And can you write a line? I'm saying which word, which letter do you have?
A second line.
Yes.
So I must say a letter which I may think of, or what? What are you trying to say?
No, a circle and a line. Which letter do you have yourself from your side? Okay, let me try. Blasters, what do you have? Fitzgerald?
Okay, I have the letter D.
Okay. Tafaz, which one do you have? Martha, which one do you have?
I have an A.
Tafaz, which one do you have? Tobias, which one?
Tobias has got I. And
Patrick has got a Q.
Patrick has got a Q. There is Emily Manyanda has A. Then I see also P from Blasters, B from Edwin Mateko, and K from Fonte. Blessings A, Kevin D.
Okay. Yeah. What I am trying to simplify is that because you are coming from different philosophies, that's why I am getting all this sort of, but I didn't say all those 20, 30 different letters that you are giving me. I just said, write a circle and a line, but you are giving me different letters. So this is because of the different philosophy, this is because of the different angles where you are coming from. And that is the same with research. Because you haven't situated your philosophy, we are now going to have different interpretations, different researches coming out. So philosophies are important in order to situate your research, to avoid getting a B, avoid getting a P, avoid getting a D, avoid getting a T. We should all get a 1 if we are using the same philosophy. Are we together?
Yes, Doc.
Yes. So I was trying these two analogies that I've used. I've simplified the importance of having some research philosophies. To say, one, does a tree which falls in the forest, does it make noise? It means for us to have the same answer, we should follow in the same philosophy. And the second one, which I've just given you, is that a 0 and a line, which letter do we have? You gave me different letters. Why? Simply because we were not using the same philosophy. So I am saying, understand the research philosophy before you do your research so that your results are replicative. Your results are important, they are valid, and they are reliable. Any question to these deliberations that we were doing before I put you in your in some breakaway rooms, whereby I would want you to use the research philosophy union by Saunders to situate your topics which you will be discussing in your breakaway rooms. Any questions? Yes, Tobias?
I don't have a question.
Wow.
Thank you.
No, that's fine. So I want you to now use the research onion and discuss and situate your research topic in your breakaway rooms. Secretariat, could you do us some breakaway rooms here? Anyone, or can I just, we have about, so we can have maybe 10 in each room so that we can have, some about 4 to 5. So class, I am pushing you to some breakaway rooms, and in those breakaway rooms, you can have each and everyone's topic, then you discuss it using the onion, like the arguments that we were doing here. And someone is saying, can you share the slides? Will we be able to share the slides beyond the?
Hello, Doc.
Yes.
Are you breaking them away, or they just break them themselves so that we?
I think let me assign them automatically.
Okay, it's all right.
But someone has requested for the slides. So what I can do here, I think before we break away, I would have wanted to share the slides first. I can, here for me to share the slides, I have to go to chat, right?
Doc, you might as well just share them on their WhatsApp group.
Oh yes, I think that one is better. I can share it on your WhatsApp group. That's what I can do right away. So now I'm breaking you so that you can do that. So I have now opened all rooms. So can you please join the rooms?
Hi guys. I think Doc was saying that we need to have each of us need to have a topic. Then when you choose a topic, then you choose philosophy. You also choose approach or approaches that you are going to use, strategies, choices, and time horizons.
Is there any progress in this group? Hello, colleagues who are still in here, please join your breakaway room. Hello? Hello, are people working here?
Yes, we are just starting now.
Okay. Right. Do you understand what you're supposed to be doing?
What we want to understand, of course, we've been going through the onion, but now I want to know what to do with this onion now.
Yes, because what you are required to do is to come up with a topic, a research topic, and then you want to fit your research topic into philosophical dimensions. Which dimension are you going to be using? Based on the onion, you peel the onion, you go inside until you get to the final part of the onion, isn't it? Because the main purpose you need to understand the philosophies is that the philosophies will guide you on what methods you are going to be using and all that. So if you don't understand the philosophical dimensions, it means that you might actually not even understand exactly what you want to do with your research. So you can, if you have the onion itself on you, you just like, for instance, the outer layer of the onion is where it is telling you about the philosophies. So you are saying that your topic, your research area, will it fit in the pragmatism perspective? Will it fit, which epistemology does it fit into? This is what you are trying to do.
Thank you.
Or interpretivism, basing
I think I would say it's positivism, Tapazo, because the theory is already there. So we've got a theory already, and whatever we come up with, we then align and try and match it to the theory, or probably it might not match.
okay. So we are saying it's positivism because it's a theory. There's a theory there.
Yes, artificial intelligence has theories already that have been proven. It's not a grounded theory. It's not like we are starting it from scratch. That's why I would think it's positivism.
Okay. Others, we've got other views. George, are you here? Okay. I think, do you want to add some?
Okay, so maybe you may guide us. So we have the outer shell of the onion where there are philosophies, right? Is it so?
Yeah.
Positivism, realism, interpretivism, pragmatism.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe we are supposed to assign one of these, or maybe if it's a combination, I'm not so sure.
And can you just go run through one of each of them?
Okay, let me go through.
Hi, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I missed the first stage. Your topic, what was it saying?
The impact of foreign direct investment on agricultural sector growth in Zimbabwe.
Impact of agri?
Impact of foreign direct investment on agricultural sector growth in Zimbabwe.
Agricultural sector in Zimbabwe.
Agricultural sector growth in Zimbabwe.
Okay, cool. Oh, that's super. Let me just also look at it.
Yes.
Can you run through the pragmatism, realism, subjectivism, and so forth?
Okay. On pragmatism, you're saying, do you have to adopt the position? On pragmatism, it argues that the most important determinant of the epistemology, ontology, and exology you adopt is the research question. One may be more appropriate than the other for answering particular questions. It avoids the researcher engaging in what they see as rather pointless debates about such concepts as truth and reality. You should study what interests you and is of value to you. Study in the different ways in which you deem appropriate, and use the results in ways that can bring about positive consequences within your value system. So it's now it zeroes down to ontology. I think it's broken down into ontology. Then there are two aspects of ontology, which include objectivism, subjectivism.
Hello, colleagues.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Right. Yes, I can hear the discussion. I just want to make a little contribution here and clarify on something, especially to do with this pragmatism versus other philosophies. So I think the idea from whether it was Tashikura or Tashikura, whatever the Japanese guy was saying, is that it is in research we need to deviate from the arguments on which philosophy is better than the other. For instance, if somebody says it's better to be a positivist, then the other one would say it's better to be an interpretivist. Then this Tashi guy says, no, does it really matter to say let's compare between these methods and see which one will give me the best result. Instead, let me work with the best combination or the best within the specific frame of research that I'm undertaking. So you will then find that pragmatism was coming into balance between the debate of whether extremists who are positivists or extremists who are interpretivists would be fighting to say, to try to understand reality from a perspective of people's feelings, it's better than to just rely on numbers. So positivists would be those who are saying, we believe in numbers. So whatever we are going to do, we need to prove a hypothesis. So in such a circumstance, some would come and say, no, but it really doesn't matter whether you're using the numbers and prove your hypothesis, but you can make a combination of the numbers and also the feelings and try to understand the feelings. This is where you then find people combining methods. That is from a perspective of a pragmatist. Then when I look at your topic, it then says that the impact of. So when you are talking about impact of, we are saying we're trying to study relationships and establish cause and effect relationship, which then tells us that we must at least prove a hypothesis. So the moment you use the term impact of, it means your philosophy automatically becomes more inclined to positivism rather than automatically judge it as a pragmatism point of pragmatism philosophy. Although we can say, you can combine in your study of the impact, you can now combine maybe understanding the feelings of individuals and then with the positivist aspect. Therefore, when you do that combination, now you're coming with pragmatism perspective. So your topic, in other words, it would lead people to access it. The moment you say impact of, we are now expecting you to come up with some form of figures, some form of hypothesis. So you can see from that direction that from the outside of the onion, by merely using the term impact, it means you're already inclined to positivism somewhere. I think this is what I thought I should just contribute as you discuss.
Okay, thank you, Doc. I'm sorry, I was missing some of your statements. I think it's because of network. You are saying it's objectivism or what? Sorry, I missed some of your statements.
No, what I was saying is that from the philosophy perspective, what you are merely looking at from your topic is to see where your topic's philosophy fits well. But I was saying that the argument on whether the philosophy really matters is what that Japanese guy was trying to dismiss, to say it really doesn't matter which philosophy you are using to debate the issues of philosophy. But what is important is to be accommodative of the all-important philosophies, which then brings in the pragmatism perspective. To say, if you just stay as a positivist or you stay as an extremist and interpretivist, you actually miss out on more interpretation that might come out of the research. So this is where the issues of pragmatism come into play. That this guy is not an extremist, if I'm to use this word, to say some people are positivists. So they will say, we will only believe things that have got numbers, that have got a hypothesis that has been tested based on these numbers. And then we come up with, like we're taking up is believe in objects rather than believe in feelings of people. This is where you find, when you talk about the feelings, yeah, it means you are going to do open-ended research, interviews, and all those things, where you are going to get the feelings from individuals who are actually involved in the area that you are researching on. So, for instance, you can say GDP has got an influence on the agricultural growth or whatever. I think yours is about agricultural growth, right? But you might want to interview people who are in the field, who will tell you that there's political interference in agricultural growth. So no matter how GDP, no matter the GDP, the size of the GDP, but if there is political interference, then there will be problems. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I get you now. Okay, so are we progressing now to the other shell?
Yes, we should.
Okay, so we have approaches that is deductive and inductive. That's what is in the next shell.
Okay. Well, what others do they think? I think there is Tobias and the other one is left. Oh, there's Tobias. What is his opinion?
Gentlemen, I think on approaches, maybe we can say our top, when we reference to our top.
Hello? I think we have lost Tobias. He was trying to say something.
That means we are only two left. Okay, so what can we just suggest from our topic? Is it one of the shells or combined?
I think Tobias is back. You may go ahead. You may go ahead, Tobias.
defined regulations. So we want to qualify this approaches to our in reference to our topic, to the inductive and the deductive, to say which one is deductive and which one is inductive.
Yes.
Yes. So we are saying, I don't know, because when you look at the topic itself, is looking at the growth of the agricultural sector. And also we're looking at being impacted by the FDI. And we are saying that we have a response in terms of how do we respond to that. We're looking at issues to do with investor-friendly policies, the creation of special economic zones, agricultural parks, promoting public-private partnerships, the triple Ps, and offering incentives such as tax breaks. So we want to find the definition of inductive and deductive on those slides which we have been sent to, which we have received, to see how to define them. Do we have any way where it is defined?
I'm trying to check.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm going through the document. Okay. Okay, research approaches. In order to pursue the principle of scientific rigor, deduction detects that the researcher should be independent of what is being observed. An additional important characteristic of deduction is that concepts need to be operationalized in a way that enables facts to be measured quantitatively. Yet the principle of reductionism is applied. This shows that problems as a whole are better understood when they are reduced to the simplest possible elements. The final characteristic of deduction is generalization. In order to be able to generalize statistically about regularities in human social behavior, it is necessary to select samples of sufficient numerical size. Then on induction building theory, the emergence of the social sciences in the 20th century led social science researchers to be aware of deduction. They were critical of an approach that enabled a cause-effect link to be made between particular variables without an understanding of the way in which humans interpreted their social world. Developing such an understanding is, of course, the strength of an inductive approach. Followers of induction would also criticize deduction because of its tendency to construct a rigid methodology that does not permit alternative explanations of what is going on. Research using an deductive approach is likely to be particularly concerned with the context in which such events were taking place. Therefore, the study of a small sample of subjects might be more appropriate than a large number as with the deductive approach. Researchers in this tradition are more likely to work with qualitative data and to use a variety of methods to collect this data in order to establish different views of phenomena. So there is a summary. Deduction emphasizes. Okay, a summary. I've seen a summary. Deduction emphasizes on scientific principles. Then induction emphasizes on gaining a highly structured approach. Researcher independence of what is being researched, the necessity to select samples of sufficient size in order to generalize conclusions. Then induction emphasizes on gaining an understanding of the meanings humans attach to events, a close understanding of the research context, the collection of qualitative data, a more flexible structure to permit changes of research emphasis as the research progresses, a realization that the researcher is part of the research process, less concern with the need to generalize. So that's the summary. I'm not sure if we managed to pick something.
Yeah, I think our research topic is inclined to quantitative data. So
Yes.
maybe I think, as far as I'm concerned, maybe we are dealing with the deduction, emphasis, I think. More deductive than inductive. Induction as emphasis. I don't know what others think.
We are being focused on one